Good morning. It is carry the 4, divide by 3. Tuesday. What?
You had to do the math for today?
Yup. Yup. Meet me at the corner of Struggle and Bus.
Uh-huh.
It is Tuesday, April 5th, which makes it Happy Independence Day. Monday,
Yeah.
July 4th. We are 90 days out from your holiday weekend. One of the best times of the year, I think, here in New England, because we have all the options. And that'll be our family vacation. We would normally go to the Cape, Robert. You're going to love this one. I'm sure you're going to cue up the music, too. We're going to Tennessee.
Oh.
Yeah. So we don't have the time to go down the road of why we're not going to the Cape. Property manager dropped the ball and screwed me. Other than that, yeah. So my wife took that occasion. Janina has always stressed. My family growing up always went to the Cape, and Janina's just like, and she grew up in Australia, so stay with me on the beach thing here because it's very confusing. She's like, yeah, and Adam Dow will appreciate this. Troy will hate it. She enjoys the lake over the ocean. And she says, as a mother with 2 boys and a husband, or 2 sons and 3 boys, being a mom at the beach is now just being a mom with sand. It's not really a vacation, right? There's just added debris. So she found lake houses in 3 different states, North Carolina and South Carolina and Tennessee. And then she and I settled on a Tennessee house and then presented the 3 properties to the boys, and they picked the Tennessee house. So we're going to Tennessee.
Tennessee it is.
Yeah, it's a family vacation. I don't really care at this point. As a dad, these are like the waning summers with my boys. I think we've told this story. Sarah Reynolds was on stage in Dallas for family reunion. Kaylee was pregnant with Waylon. And, of course, my 2 boys were 2 years ago, probably 14 and 13. And Sarah Reynolds is like, don't forget, you only get 18 summers. And I was like, I just turned and looked at Kaylee. I'm like, I'm not crying, you're crying. She's like, we're both crying, stupid. Yeah, because she's thinking, oh, my God, the clock hasn't started ticking for her yet. Now it has, obviously, because Waylon's tall enough to be smoking and running around the house with his pants off. So all the frivolity. Very exciting. It's very exciting. So, yeah, your holiday weekend is 90 days out. So we're going to talk about jumping back into the shift book. We have normally Robert and I will grab one of the books and wave it around when we're talking about something. We're going to purposefully and maybe sporadically jump around shift for the next month of April. But we're going to talk about mindset today. We'll get to that in a second. We are reminding you the Homes Tour is underway. There's still time to catch up, but that's up and away. They're doing Rockingham County today. And they met today at the Portsmouth building. If you're still catching up to get in line with them, always a good time. There's the shift book. I have the Senile shift book. I love this one, the Spiral Bound, the Leadership Edition, because it lays flat, which is awesome.
I like the lay flat.
Yeah.
I only have the red book in the lay flat version.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the lay flat.
I'm pretty sure you have to go to Keller Inc. for the lay flat models.
Yeah.
They're not usually available on Amazon, but we would encourage you at this point, if you have not grabbed, I'll give you the 4 you should grab, but then I'll give you the 5th that I would call my 4th book. Not that I'm against MREI, although it's an important book. So the red book, obviously the blueprint for the business, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Shift, which is a book that I think people grab this, like break glass if needed. I'm going to grab the shift book and read it now because I feel like a shift is coming. This book's really the playbook for the activity, so you're always shift proof. You've always insulated your business. You are prepared for the storm. So you'll feel the waves, but they're not going to tip your boat over, being the point in that one. MREI is a great book to have to understand, and Nathan would certainly say this, that investing in real estate is a great thing for you to do. It's also a great next step for your clients if they bought their first house. Is a next step for them to maybe become investors and start to get their vacation properties or just additional properties to invest in. And then I would argue that the one thing is on that list, and then one of my favorites, Michael Mayer, who will be here at the end of this month on the 21st, actually, at the Wentworth. Tickets still available. Link is in the news. Wrote The 7 Levels of Communication, which is a phenomenal book. So we'll get to that stuff. Let's continue to cruise through the schedule. Don't forget, 10 o'clock today, York Public Library is Jeopardy with Kelly Cohen. Then we've got Tech Tuesday, 11, 1, and 3 with Robert. We'll talk about his schedule in a second. Financing options. Mark Lesniak has a lunch and learn going on for you in Meredith with Bank of New Hampshire and the title team. And then, of course, the Millionaire Real Estate, get that book, the MREA breakout series going on at 2 o'clock all month long. The link is in the news, so you can register for that. Team leaders from around the region of New England are going to be teaching MREA. We start today, and I believe Krista Carnan starts today at 2 o'clock. So jump on that bandwagon. And then we'll get to the rest of the calendar in a second. We're going to remind you, obviously, that, again, this month we are going to be at the grill for the All Partners meeting. That is are we going to the third Wednesday of the month? I can't remember what day it is, but I think it's the Wednesday. It's the Wednesday after Easter. I apologize. Yeah, 17th. Is that the right date? Or it's way after that? Way after.
Trying to get there.
Maybe the 20th. I apologize. The Wednesday after Easter will be over there. And then the golf, I want to remind you about
20th.
What is it?
20th.
The 20th. Thank you, sir. The 20th will be the Atlantic Grove for the All Partners meeting. The 21st is Michael Mayer at the Wentworth. Tickets still available. The link is in the news. Registration for the Golf Classic, KWCLM Golf Classic. May the course be with you on May 4th. Link is in the news. This Friday, they also have an event going on from 3 to 5 at the Meredith office. Just a gathering from 3 to 5 to stretch your legs, see some people in public, and get to know your fellow agents. That's at the Meredith office with snacks and cocktails. And then Red Day, and this should be circled. Nothing else should be on your calendar. I'm not telling you how to run your business. I'm telling you how to run your business, and I usually never say that. This is a sacred cow day. This should be a day that you have nothing else on the calendar. It's always typically the second Thursday in the month of May in honor of Mo Anderson's birthday. Red Day is renew, energize, and donate, and it's a day of service. All the details came out in an email yesterday, and you can order a shirt if you want a shirt to wear. We want everybody to be in red for that event. And I do believe, and this makes Brad Kelly very happy, it is a chainsaw event. You don't need to bring a chainsaw, but usually, yeah, we could go to a soup kitchen. We've told this story before, Robert. We could go to a soup kitchen to do Red Day, and Brad Kelly will still cut the baguettes with a chainsaw. He always brings his chainsaw.
I will bring both of mine.
But check with Bradley. What Kel course is good for like a front end loader. Bradley Kelly will usually have like a potato gun and a chainsaw. So we are apparently working on the trails in and around this campus that we're going to be working on. And this campus in Portsmouth that we're going to be working on is housing for a myriad of groups that need assistance and housing. And there's a pathway and some walking trails out back that have overgrown. There's some fallen logs from winter storms. We're going to clean all that up. So I will have my pink hard hat and my gloves so I don't ruin my manicure. But yes, Marcy Francis will always point out that somehow I get to the end of Red Day and I'm still sparkling like a dime. But that's fine. Anyway, people judge. I'll be there. I'm always there. And we invite you to be there all day. I appreciate if you get something on the books. You got a family thing on the books. Absolutely. Moving forward, Red Day, that Thursday, just block it off. Know that we start early in the morning. More details to come. And usually we try to wrap up as close to 3 or 4 or 5 as possible so we can go out and hydrate after the fact. We usually go somewhere and have a few cocktails and talk about how great we are because we trimmed a bush. It's very exciting. So all that's on the schedule. Robert's got his schedule today, of course, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 3 o'clock. What's on the docket, Robert?
It's the beginning of the month.
Yes.
So we go back and we do a reset, and we've got a bunch of stuff coming up. This is a short month. There's only 4 weeks. So I kind of changed things around.
As opposed to those 6 week months. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a 5-week month, we can do a lot in that.
Yes.
But
agreed. Yes, sir.
Think about it. A 5-week month is 3 extra classes. I mean, that's a big difference.
3 extra classes with Robert.
Yeah.
It's like a cereal
3
box.
extra
Yeah. 3% more.
DocuSign this month. We're going to go back and start again. We're going to do intro to DocuSign.
Yeah.
And I can't stress this enough. If you're not going to take any class, take that. And then after the DocuSign class today, we're going to be going to Command 101, and we're restarting the month. So we're doing the Command overview. And if you're going to take any class this month, take that. And then on the Command 301, we're going to be doing smart plans today. And if you're going to take any class this month, take that.
I was hoping that's where you were going with this. Yes. Yes.
We're going back to the beginning and kind of resetting. And I'm looking forward to really digging into DocuSign with some people because, and this is important, you guys, DocuSign has had, we'll will say, some itches and scratches lately, some things that have been popping up that have been slightly less than fun. And so I'm going to be showing you not only how to work around certain things, although we don't like to call it workarounds, we like to call it a path forward, but I'm going to be showing you how to deal with some of those not so fun things in DocuSign that people definitely stumble across. But I'm also going to be showing you some alternative uses and making sure that everybody is set up with their zip forms in DocuSign so that they can access their forms there as a secondary means of forms for both New Hampshire and Maine, well, all three of them, New Hampshire, Maine, and Mass. So we're going to be kind of taking a look at expanding DocuSign into its full capability, and that's going to be starting today. So it's an intro and also setup. So come on and join us. Like I said, each one of these classes, if you can't make any of them, make these ones.
Yeah, make them all. If you can't make any of them, make them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just hyper important. We know when people plug into this stuff. Like there's no red pill, blue pill. There's no way. There's no silver bullet to that correlates with if you do this one thing. Well, I'd argue as your coach, it's lead generation, but we're not going to go down that road just yet. There are so many things that tie people to the greatness of real estate, right? And we know here for sure it's about being plugged in, and that's different for everybody. If you're plugging in through the education, if you are making sure that you are integrated, and again, the conversation we're universally going to have as KWCLM agents is about command, because everyone has access to that. If you have decided there's a tool that works better for you because you're using it, works better for you, doesn't look better, still in the wrapper on the desk. If you're using another CRM at a high level, Godspeed. No judgment there. If your team is using another tool, what we're saying is CRM. So when we say command, if you are thinking, oh, but we use Brivity, we use Top Producer or something else, by all means, replace that word, one for the other. Just swap it out. If you're using that, insofar as you're putting your people into it and allowing that to communicate on your behalf while you sleep, while you go to dinner with your family, why do you go to your son's lacrosse game? That's the point of this. When you tell me that this is your CRM, this is my database, you're lying to yourself, your bank account, and your loved ones. This is the walkie-talkie machine. Hold two-face, have conversation. Other than that, these people need to get moved out of here and put into a CRM so you can systematically and consistently speak with them on a regular basis. And people feel like, well, I don't want to use that CRM because that's really me putting my people into this tool and I'm like managing my people. No, the CRM is there for you to manage yourself and your communication with your people. Like it's very rare. Actually, I'll say this and I'll never lie to you guys. I've never had somebody come up to me in Hannah Foods and be like, dude, I got that email from your CRM and I felt like you were talking to so many different people at once and I'm just a number. Never has happened. Never has happened. And I told you guys this a little while ago from our old CRM, which is still running in the background. I had people that were still in mykw.kw.kw.com. The old e-edge. I had somebody that I had sold to in my final summer in real estate in 14, and they reached back out to relist because they were still on a campaign that I was running from that. And they responded to that one. Like they copied that and sent it forward. They're also in my command. So don't overthink that. This was from, and at the time it was probably a couple years ago. This is 6 years later. They're reaching back out. And I hadn't called them, and that's my bad, but I had something running on my behalf that kept me top of mind for them. Otherwise, they would have gone with somebody else. We know that. It happens all the time. Raise your hand if you had somebody else relist a house you sold to somebody and you're offended. Oh, my God, I sold that back to them in 1938. Why would they use somebody else? Because you haven't talked to them since 1939. That's why, Jerry.
Yep.
Since the war, they haven't heard from you, right? They thought you got deployed and never came home. We can't blame them. If Robert sells my sister's house, I'm not allowed to get mad at Robert or my sister. It's all my fault. We have to take extreme ownership of the conversations we are and are not having. Now more than ever. Because never before in the history of mankind could you throw a rock and have it bounce off two realtors. Never mind hit one. They're everywhere. So how are we going to differentiate ourselves? By creating our brand and making sure people know who we are, what we stand for, and that we're here to serve. Yes, without fail. Robert, you were going to say before I interrupted you 13 times. It's what I do at a high level. Sorry.
So I want to kind of address an elephant in the room.
I resemble that remark. Go ahead, though. Yep.
And your databases. I have spoken with more than one agent recently in the past month. I'll kind of blanket it there. than one agent in the past month has told me, I'm concerned about entering the contacts, my personal contacts, into a command database. Of course, my question is why? And unbelievably, and I wish that we had a better way to communicate this with you than just these little chats that we have in the morning or casual conversations. Some people think that the database is KW's database, that you're actually entering your people into a database that is accessed by Keller Williams. And it could not be further from the truth. It is so far from the truth that let me tell you this. If you were to leave KW, the database dies. Nobody gets it, and nobody has access to it while you're here. The only time that I would ever access your database is usually side by side with you while we're working in it together.
Sure.
There's no getting into your databases. The data is yours, and you can extract it at any given time. And I would like people to just know that it is an incredibly secure system. Nobody's getting in there.
Yep.
And to think of it as being a KW database is kind of an off-base mark, where you want to think of it this way. We are giving you a tool to help you manage your people. It's yours.
Yep.
And when you leave, it dies.
Yep.
And if you want to take it with you, you can.
Yep.
But don't ever think for a moment that we're going in there and poking around, doing numbers and counting things and looking in there to see what you're doing. It just can't happen. So I want to let people know that, like I said, it's kind of hard sometimes because there's perception, and then there's these little chats that we have, and I don't know how many people we're going to reach right now that are going to pass that information on.
Yep.
But it's just like anything. The more we talk about this, the more that information kind of filters through the system.
Yep.
So if anybody ever asks you, it says to you, I'm afraid about doing that because I don't want anybody accessing my data. They won't. They can't.
Yeah. Well, to Robert's point too, the reason we don't talk about this is because and it's not that we don't feel it's important, and shame on us because we don't talk about it enough to make you guys aware. Gary said years ago on stage, and I'll blame it on Anaheim because I think this is when he said it. When we first started talking, when he first said we're going to be a tech company, and we talked about the command was coming to a theater near you, he made a data pledge on that same stage. So to Robert's point, it's your data inside a tool given to you as a member of our company by KW. So please understand that. Now, obviously, if you're integrating your people into a database that is your team's, that's an extraction conversation and a decoupling conversation should you step away or move on to do your own thing or whatever the case may be. That's between you and another person within the company. Yet, we all follow the same pledges. So you're listing your lead. If Robert has a listing and the phone call comes into our front desk here, so if you're on uptime, you will never get a buyer call from the front desk that's been vetted by Helen or anybody that belongs to one of our agents. Because what it does is they look it up real quick. They see that it's 123 Main Street. They know it's a Robert Vincent listing. That goes to Robert. Now, Robert, if he's feeling I'm overwhelmed, here's another buyer that I won't be able to serve at a high level, could call Helen back and say, hey, by the way, who's on uptime? Oh, it's Tim Lindsay. And then he can call me and be like, hey, dude, I got a qualified buyer who's looking for some help. They're actually looking at 123 Main Street. Do you want to run with them? And if we get together on this, awesome. If not, just flip me 25%. Do you want it, Timmy? Sure, because that's his lead from his listing that he's in control of the conversation and the compensation. So that follows down the pathway of the data as well. Your data is your data. Your listing is your lead. Your data is your data. So this is why we are so friggin' worried about you guys using Dotloop, because they're not owned by Gary or Robert or me or your cat. Dotloop is owned by, wait for it, Billo with a Z. I don't use their real name, not because they're Voldemort, but because they're an actual broker within the state of New Hampshire, and I'm not going to make it. And if I told you, well, we've got this tool that you can use to run your paperwork, don't forget, though, it's viewable by Remax or somebody else. You'd be like, well, I would never do that. You're doing it, and there's no judgment here. We're just asking you to escape that conversation and move to DocuSign. It's clunky. Well, DocuSign's not stealing your information. Dotloop hasn't stolen my information, Tim. They could. They just haven't yet. They can see it. I guarantee they can see it. So please hear us loud and clear. I'm screaming for no reason except for the fact that I'm a maniac, and it drives me bonkers when people don't connect these dots that we've told you time and time again. Why do you guys not like Dotloop? I love Dotloop. It works. Yeah, it works. And it's not ours. And people that are not you can see your people in Dotloop. And if you think that they're not going to start to scrape that data and market to them in 2022, where nobody has any integrity, I would like to sell you a bridge in Cleveland. I mean, I would get off my soapbox. I'm still in my chair, never got on the soapbox. I can scream from a seated position. Clearly been doing it for 7 years. Please understand, this is why we want you to move to DocuSign yesterday. So your data is safe in Command, not safe in Dotloop. And I'm not casting wild aspersions here. Like without fail, you are running a risk. And we used to have an agreement with Dotloop. Why were we ever with Dotloop? Because Gary had an agreement with Dotloop that your data was safe. And when he went to go re-up that for Command, they said, nah, we're not going to do that anymore. Why? Because they became a brokerage. It was in their best interest to be able to look inside your sock drawer. And they're looking inside your sock drawer. Where's my wallet? I don't know. Check with Billo. Maybe they have it. And your last 50 transactions. Oh, there's still time. I've got 2 minutes. I'm going to drop this one on you just so you guys know. We got sidetracked, but it was an important sidetrack. I'm glad that we brought that up, Robert. If we're in tactic 1 of shift, it's all about mindset, right? Get real and get right, Gary would say. Tactic number 1 in shift. If you don't have your copy of shift, you're going to Amazon today to get your copy of shift. Tactic number 1. The whole mindset is about how do you approach things? How do you look at things? Mark King just this past week shared the story, and I've heard this before, and it's a great example of where we are right now. And at some point this week, Robert, remind me to read the story of the chicken and the rooster. It's a poultry story. I know nobody should be shocked, but I think people that know what story that is, they'll be like, oh, he's going to read that again because it's apropos for what we're in right now. The story of the shoe salesman that travels to a foreign country, gets off the plane, starts to walk through town, and he's like, oh my God, nobody here wears shoes. And he goes home. Now, the other mindset is the shoe salesman who goes to a foreign land, starts to walk through town, realizes nobody wears shoes, sees a great opportunity. There's a massive opportunity. Stop saying to yourself, to your loved ones, to fellow realtors, and to your cat that there's no inventory. It is everywhere around us. It's our job to bring it to market. So how are you approaching the opportunity today? It is only 8:57. You have the whole day in front of you. Can you get a hold of one person that you know and love and trust who's already in your phone, your Mets, who we know financially and emotionally move faster to the finish line than your unmets? Can we get one of our loved ones on the phone anywhere in the country, right? And can you find out if you can connect them with a local realtor, or obviously locally, if you can connect with them via Zoom or in person at their kitchen table and do an equity update? The Trojan horse listing appointment. Mm-hmm. And if we can have that conversation and we can start to move the needle on listings, right? Let's stop calling listings inventory. Inventory is everywhere. Bringing them from the back room to the shelf with a price tag makes them a listing. Mm-hmm. We have a ton of inventory. There's a massive opportunity. And when you're closing said inventory, to put a bow on this, Robert, use DocuSign. So at 11 o'clock every Tuesday, Robert is making sure you are protecting your data and your future business by using something that we know is insulated, that we know we have control over, that we know nobody else can check in on. And I'm not saying that our friends at Billo are looking at your data every day. And I also can't promise you that they're not. If I were you, I would drill down deep on the fine print that you probably scrolled past, because that's what we do. Everyone's guilty. When you're in your Dotloop account or you're refreshing it or whatever, there's some fine print somewhere where they probably say, listen, everybody can see your sock drawer. So that's why DocuSign's so important. Mm-hmm. Please, for the love of baby Jesus, understand that we're having these conversations with you guys to benefit your business and the future of your business and to protect your data. So if you're worried about Command, don't. There's a data pledge from Gary. Did you get a data pledge from your friends at DocuSign? I mean, at Dotloop, owned by Billo with a Z. Think about that, because it's counterintuitive to be not playing in one space and loving the other space, right? It takes one match to burn down a house. End of story, you know? So let's please be aware of who we're in business with. Your strategic partnerships right now are more important than ever because everything's moving so quick. Well, Dotloop, I understand Dotloop, and it moves faster for me. understand DocuSign, and it will too.
Yeah. Become an expert, and then you're the expert.
Yeah. Well, and above and beyond that, and then you start to spread that through the market center and through your business when people realize that people, hey, you took a little bit of time, and now you're insulated. Now because I'll tell you right now, Gary will throw on a blonde wig like Khaleesi and burn King's Landing to the ground if DocuSign gets into our sock drawer. I can tell you that right now. Gary will lose his natural mind on your behalf.
I just have an image now.
Yeah, print that. Somebody just said print that shirt for DocuSign. Print the shirt with Gary and a blonde wig on a dragon. Yeah. Yeah, we'll use a G, Khaleesi. I don't care. Every day when he wakes up, he's fighting for your greatness. He did not invite us to move to DocuSign for any other reason but to protect your data and your business. Gary wrote a book called The One Thing. Well, Gary's got a million things. How dare he write a book about the one thing? His one thing is protecting you in the transaction. I say this all the time. We're doing a million things at our company, and that's supported by a million people doing those million things. Gary's one thing is to protect you in the transaction. Please know this. If you need Babs for your marketing, which will be safe because it's in command. My God, I'm making my point. Timewithbabs.com, B-A-B-S, timewithbabs.com, or KWCLMmarketing.com. If you want to get wicked smarter and start to earn some merit badges in the gamification inside of our LMS, our learning management system, KWCLMtraining.com, I would recommend that you do that because there might be an opportunity to go to tacos at La Vida Cantina with Robert and Zoe and myself at a date to be named later. We're just going to keep an eye on it and see who rises to the top. So get into the LMS and get wicked smarter. If for no other reason, go in. If you're missing contracts class, go in to watch all the essential forms with JV, narrated by the number one broker in the state of New Hampshire.
There might even be an Easter egg somewhere in the LMS.
I love all of this. I love all. It's like that newsletter with the missing bean, and you have to find the bean in the newsletter that we have at the front desk. I don't even know what that is.
Coffee bean, yeah.
Yeah, the coffee bean, yes, without fail. And then above and beyond that, Robert is timewithrobert.com. If you need my face, it's meetwithcoach.com. Questions for your brokers, you're calling Jason Westcott, 603-234-2589. And if you need me for anything, it's 603-834-2856. We yell because we love. I shouldn't say we. That was inclusive language. Robert is very, very calm, cool, and collected. I yell because I love. Robert stays calm because he loves. We're here for you every day. Move from Dotloop to DocuSign faster than you planned to protect your data. Said with love. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you in and around the Market Center.